I didn't know you were hiding money like that. Besides, we're married, so I should be able to use our shared money. It's worse to hide it and then act like you're better than me. My husband and mother-in-law kept talking however they wanted, and I got so upset that I decided to face them and speak up. By the way, have you checked the passbook? Oh, I should introduce myself. I'm Lillian, and I'm turning 42 this year. I've been married for 17 years. Before getting married, I worked at a company, but I quit after marriage and started working part-time at a local supermarket. I met my husband, Easton, at work. At first, I thought he was a kind, normal man, but that changed about 6 months after we got married. One evening, while I was making dinner, my mother-in-law suddenly showed up without any warning. Easton wasn't home yet, so I thought she might have an urgent reason for visiting. I let her in. As soon as she saw the living room, she sighed loudly and said, "Lillian, you've been sitting and watching TV all day, while my son Easton is working so hard. Don't you feel bad about that?" I had been watching TV for a little while, but before that, I had been in the kitchen making dinner. I had done all my housework earlier in the day, and I had just returned from shopping after my part-time job. I was frustrated but tried to stay calm and said, "I'm sorry," to my mother-in-law. She didn't stop there. She went into the kitchen and started complaining about the dinner. "Is this all we're having today? Poor Easton, working so hard, and this is what he has to eat. Curry and salad? How could you serve him such an unfinished meal?" I felt insulted, not just for myself, but for my parents too. Finally, I lost my patience and asked, "Did you need something?" My mother-in-law was shocked and said, "Oh, don't be so angry just because I looked at the dinner." She pouted and sat down heavily on the sofa to watch TV. I asked her, "What do you need?" She replied, "It's not what I need, it's about what you should be doing for your mother-in-law who kindly visited you." She complained that I didn't even offer her tea and kept repeating how poor Easton was. So, I served her tea, but she complained about that too, saying it tasted cheap. Back then, I was young and tried to avoid arguing with my husband's mother, thinking I should be more considerate. But she kept visiting without notice, always criticizing me for not cleaning properly, being lazy, and not disciplining the house. After a while, I was fed up and decided to talk to my husband. "Hey, can you ask your mom to stop visiting so often? It's too much. No matter how hard I work, she keeps complaining about everything." My husband replied, "Why is it such a problem? Mom just wants you to work harder, that's why she's tough on you." I said, "I'm trying my best, but if she keeps showing up unannounced, I can't even cook dinner properly, and if you're bothered by it, you should say something yourself. But don't forget, my mom cares about us too." My husband always acted this way, never really listening to what I said. No matter how hard I worked to clean the house or improve my cooking, my mother-in-law would always find something wrong and never gave me any praise. One day, the vegetables my mother-in-law brought were clearly close to expiring, so I used them for dinner. When she saw what I served, she made a big deal about me using such wilted vegetables for her son and herself. That was when I realized she just wanted to make me look bad and bully me. After being criticized so much, I decided to talk to my father-in-law. I told him that it was hard for me to prepare meals for my mother-in-law and that her surprise visits were a problem. He seemed unaware that she was coming over so often and apologized to me. He said, "I thought she was out with friends. I didn't know she was bothering you, Lillian." "I'm sorry." I told him it wasn't his fault, and I explained that I had been giving her money for meals, but she wasn't accepting it. He apologized again and promised he would speak sternly to my mother-in-law. I thought this would be the end of it, but then I got a phone call from my mother-in-law. "Hello. How could you talk about me to my husband like that? After everything I've done for you, I didn't expect such ungratefulness," she shouted. I replied, "That's not true. You should be the one apologizing. It's outrageous to say I'm inconvenienced. I'm the one who's being treated badly. I've been trying to help you, but you make it difficult." She said, "I'm teaching you because your upbringing is lacking. You should be grateful." I told her, I understand, but it's still inconvenient when you show up without telling me first. My parents wouldn't do that. She yelled at me, a mother shouldn't need an appointment to visit her son. You, as a daughter-in-law, should just follow the rules of the family. No matter what I said, she just got angrier, yelling so much that I couldn't understand her anymore. Then, she hung up. I suspected that my mother-in-law called my father-in-law when he wasn't around, so I didn't want to talk to him again. I thought it would only lead to more of the same. Even though the visits became a little less frequent, my mother-in-law didn't stop coming. My husband seemed happy as he complained about work to her and got her sympathy, so it didn't seem like he was going to convince her to stop visiting anytime soon. Seeing his attitude, my mother-in-law got even happier. They both started blaming me. Lillian, you don't show enough respect to Mom. That's right, Easton, tell her more. I only get a small allowance, even though I'm the one working. What a terrible wife you have. They continued eating the meals I prepared while complaining about them, laughing and chatting in the living room I had just cleaned. When I was washing the dishes, my husband would tell me to at least prepare the bath, expecting me to get everything ready, from towels to pajamas. My mother-in-law didn't say anything to him. Instead, she sided with him, saying, "Poor thing, having such an inconsiderate wife." I spoke to my father-in-law again, and he apologized once more, but I was getting tired of my mother-in-law's actions never changing. These days just kept repeating. One day, I noticed that a necklace my mother had given me was missing. When I asked my husband about it, he said he didn't know and dismissed me, saying, "You probably lost it because you're careless." It was supposed to be in my drawer. The truth came out when my mother-in-law visited again during dinner. I noticed she was wearing the necklace. It was very unique, with a strange design, so there was no way I could mistake it. I asked her, "Mother-in-law, that necklace?" She replied, "Oh dear, it's disgraceful to want something someone else is wearing." She was wearing the necklace I had lost. I couldn't believe it. I asked her to give it back. She acted shocked, saying, "How dare you accuse me of stealing from you? Not only are you wanting something of mine, but you're calling me a criminal. That shows your poor upbringing." With a smug smile, she kept provoking me until I couldn't hold back anymore and tried to take the necklace. She screamed loudly on purpose, and just then, my husband came home earlier than usual. When he saw me, he shoved me hard, and I crashed into the wall, falling down. Looking down at me, he grabbed my mother-in-law by the shoulder and started accusing me, just like Mom said, "You've been bullying her when I'm not around, haven't you?" "That's right, Easton. Lillian is really terrible," my mother-in-law agreed. I tried to explain, "The necklace your mom is wearing is the one I lost," but my husband didn't listen. He said, "I don't want to hear any excuses. Mom, let's eat out tonight." He looked at me and said, "You better reflect on your actions." Then, he left with my mother-in-law. In that moment, I was shocked and furious. Not only had I lost my necklace, but my husband also sided with his mother without hearing me out. My anger and frustration reached their breaking point, and I decided I was going to take revenge. That same day, I spoke with my father-in-law again. He apologized to me, and after listening to my story, I found out that he was just as fed up as I was. After my mother-in-law's outrageous behavior, I decided to come up with a plan. Then, when she came over again, still not having learned her lesson, she was proudly wearing the necklace, waiting for me to react. I decided to test her. I told her, "I forgot to buy something. Could you watch the house for a bit?" Normally, she would have snapped at me for asking her to do something, but this time, she smiled sweetly and said, "Of course, take your time, you're always busy with housework." I thanked her and told her I'd be back in about 30 minutes. I left my mother-in-law at home and went to the supermarket, my heart racing. I wanted to get proof of her behavior so I could take my revenge. At the same time, I hoped my mother-in-law and husband would feel guilty and change their ways. Exactly 30 minutes later, I returned home with the shopping bags. When I walked in, I saw my husband and mother-in-law eating dinner together, not waiting for me. "You were late, so we started without you. Today's dinner is simpler than usual. Don't you feel bad for Mom?" my husband said. But I had asked my mother-in-law to watch the house while I went out, and she had agreed. I told them, "No more excuses, be more careful next time." Seeing my husband act even more arrogant because of his mother made me sigh. I looked at the pot with just a few vegetables left and felt more disgusted than angry at my husband, who didn't even think to save some food for me. I realized there was no way these two would ever change. After cleaning up dinner, I checked on the trap I had set, and just as I expected, it had been triggered. My husband gave me a mocking smile, looking uglier than ever. His smile was just like my mother-in-law's when she showed off the necklace, and it made me laugh. The day of revenge came sooner than I expected. On my husband's day off, he and my mother-in-law called me into the living room. They both looked happy, so I sat down across from them, pretending not to know anything. "Hey, why didn't you tell us?" my husband asked. "What about the bank book? If you had that much money, you should have told us." I replied, "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't play dumb," my mother-in-law said. "We're talking about your bank book." I managed to stay calm, not showing panic. They then started putting papers for a single-family house on the table. "Mom and Dad, you and me, we bought a new two-family house," my husband said. "What do you mean? You're slow to catch on, aren't you?" he added. "We're saying we made a deal using the money from your bank book," my husband explained. "Buying it all at once means no interest, so it's easier." "Wait, why are you doing this without telling me?" I asked, feeling angry. "Lillian, you really don't like me, do you? That's why you don't want to live with me." "Stop it," my husband said. "You're being rude." "I'm being rude? It's much more disrespectful for both of you to use my money without asking me first," I snapped. They both started complaining, saying rude things, and I couldn't help but laugh. As angry as I was, I found it almost unbelievable how they thought they could just take my money without permission, but I was determined to get my revenge, because they had made me this way. "We found a perfect property and already signed the contract," my husband continued. "No matter what you say, it's too late now." "I didn't know you saved that much money," I said, "but we're married, so there's no reason I shouldn't use our shared money." "That's right," my husband agreed. "It's worse to hide it." "By the way, have you checked the name on the bank book?" I asked. They froze. The look on their faces went pale as they realized what I meant. I couldn't hold back anymore and laughed out loud. "What the hell is this?" they both asked. "It's exactly what you're seeing," I said. "Why does it have someone else's name?" "I never said it was my bank book." "So what does this mean? You stole Dad's bank book?" they both demanded. "Who's the thief here?" I asked. "You pried open a locked drawer and took it. You were hiding it, so don't act like you're innocent." "Don't talk back to Mom," my husband said. "You need to watch your mouth." "Do you know why father-in-law gave this to me?" I asked. "I heard about why you've been spending so much lately. You took a vacation, didn't you? You told your company you had a fever or went back to your parents' house, right?" My husband and mother-in-law both looked shocked as I revealed the truth. They exchanged uncomfortable glances, but I wasn't going to forgive them. Just then, the doorbell rang. When I opened the door, I brought the visitor inside. My mother-in-law let out a small scream when she saw who it was. "I contacted my father-in-law," I explained. "Why are you here? I've told you so many times not to cause trouble for Lillian." "But..." "No excuses," my father-in-law cut in. "When will you two start behaving? Lillian is my daughter-in-law, and you should treat her well." He turned to my husband and said, "You should be grateful to Lillian. You've been working to support her, and she's been trying to make everything work. What have you been doing?" Every time they tried to excuse themselves, my father-in-law shot them down with strong words until they were silent. Finally, he delivered the final blow. "About that bank book," he said. "I gave it to Lillian because I felt bad about how much trouble you two have been causing her. Consider it a nuisance fee." I warned them both. "There's no way. After stealing my money and buying a house with it, what more do you expect from me?" They couldn't say anything, and my mother-in-law was taken home by my father-in-law. Before she left, I pointed to her neck and took back the necklace. Seeing that, my husband realized what had happened and forced his mother to apologize. The living room was quiet, and I handed my husband the divorce papers. He looked shocked. "Why?" he asked. "After all this, you still want a divorce?" "I'm disgusted with you too," I said. "After everything, you think we can still stay married?" "No, I won't divorce you," he replied. "Then should we go to court?" I asked. "We'd have to tell the court everything you've done, including what happened at your company." "What are you talking about?" he asked, confused. "I have it all on camera," I said. "I saw you and your mom breaking into the locked drawer and taking the bank book. You can't deny it." "You're lying," he protested. Isn't it amazing how you can call others thieves after doing the same thing? I said, all of this will be exposed in court, and you'll have to pay back the 300K you took, plus the court fees. What will you do? He didn't know what to say. Why are you being so cruel? He asked. If you don't get it, we can have your father lecture you again, I said. I accepted the divorce papers, and finally, I was free. As for the 300K I got from my father-in-law, I decided to keep it as a nuisance and consolation fee for everything my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law did. Under my father-in-law's supervision, they had to work hard to repay him a total of 60 million yen. One day, I got an email from my ex-husband, asking for reconciliation, but I ignored it and deleted it. Now that I was free from the stress they caused me, my health improved, and I could enjoy my time without worrying.